Alright, so we are 14 days into December, the final month of 2023. That means today I'm going to rank the 5 November new releases that I've seen. With that said, make sure to subscribe, like button, hit the bell, and comment down below what is your ranking of the new releases in November that you have seen. I don't know all that and more. I saw 5 movies this month. It took me a little while because I never got around to watching Good Burger 2, which is a movie I've said that I was going to watch before I make this video. So it was a little while before I got around to filming the video, 14 days to be exact. But today I am going to do that, so do all those things. And with that said, let's go ahead and get started with my number 5. My least favorite movie of November is Napoleon, the new Ridley Scott movie. For me, Ridley Scott is a director that, kind of like David Fincher and all that, not necessarily my favorite director. In fact, this is the only movie of his I saw. Like Martin Scorsese, only movie. David Fincher's got a movie on this list. They both have a bunch of movies that some of them really aren't my cup of tea. Some of them are movies that I really want to see. Blade Runner 2049, the new Alien movie for David Fincher, The Girl and the Dragon Tattoo, Zodiac. All these are movies that I want to see. But they also have a lot of movies that I'm not all that interested in. Napoleon was one I wanted to see. I thought the trailer looks great. And I sat in the theater and I thought that the drama stuff of it, when we're watching Napoleon's life, kind of getting all that, learning more about Napoleon and all that, him being the army general and all that it's fine enough. I sat there and I watched it and I was like, okay, yeah, it's interesting enough. Can hold my attention. The problem here is there are action scenes. There are big battle scenes that most of them, actually not even most of them, all of them are boring. They are beyond boring for all of them. I, in general, ain't a fan of the guy who's like all action scenes that are just people running around and just shooting each other and you don't know what's happening. And this movie not only has so much of that kind of action, but it's just so boring and so non-choreographed that I genuinely thought to myself, what is happening? What is happening? Okay, I'm bored out of my mind now. And it sucks because it takes up 45% of the movie at least of just all these big action battles that aren't interesting. And so I felt that a lot of the time in the theater I was just sitting here kind of bored. It's a 2.5 hour movie, actually almost 3 hour movie. It doesn't have anything to really keep it to be all that entertaining. Like, it's not like Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon, where it's not the most entertaining movie, but it always kept me engaged. This movie just kind of lost my attention quite a bit throughout here, so it's not a terrible movie. It's just not a movie that's hardwired for me, and my dad left theater saying that it was very boring. I thought there were a couple of interesting things in here that kept it to be a fine movie, but those action scenes really dragged it down for me. Number 4, Good Burger 2. I'm a big fan of the original. Actually, my mother made me and my brother watch it a long time ago, and I can't get enough of that movie. It's absolutely hilarious. One of the most classic cult classics that are out there right now. And this movie, I wasn't excited for it. I really wasn't. I thought you shouldn't have touched the original. I didn't see a trailer for it. I didn't even know it was coming out until Cody Leach posted on Twitter, here, time to watch Good Burger 2. So I clicked on Paramount Plus because I knew it would be on there. I'm like, Good Burger 2 is actually a thing? Like, I eat at Arby's all the time, and I didn't even know they were running a Good Burger meal. I mean, come on. And so, Good Burger, first one's great. Wasn't too excited for this one. Me and my brother sat down to watch it, and Kel Mitchell is the most perfect role for this one. He is so funny, and he never missed a beat as his character, and he genuinely made me laugh quite a bit. The problem here is the story. And the first Good Burger, kind of the basic story, you know, got this guy, he wants to take over the restaurant. Obviously. I mean, but the thing that makes that one fun is that it has so many iconic scenes. The one in the mental institution, the one at the golf course. If you say the word Good Burger, those are the scenes that come to mind. I get specific scenes coming to mind. This one's story is kind of like, yeah, we're going to have this evil corporation take over Good Burger. And then we're not going to, we're not going to make anything special about it at all. It's got laughs. Kel Mitchell's got laughs, but it's just a very basic movie that I can name 40 other Nickelodeon movies of almost the exact same plot and the exact same plot beats and the exact same emotions and the exact same everything that happens that this movie is just another copy and paste from the studio. It's another copy and paste to get kids to sit down and watch the movie. Not my thing. It's definitely not as charming as the original Good Burger. This movie's so basic that I fell asleep during 5 minutes at the end. My brother woke me up, said he heard me snoring. It's like, hey, wake up. And he's like, do you want to go back? I'm like, no, let me guess what happened here. Okay, they escaped, they went on a chase, and now they're about to end this all. And he's like, you weren't sleeping, were you? I'm like, yeah, I was. I knew exactly everything that was going to happen by beat, by beat, by beat, by beat. There's not a single unique thing about this movie besides Kel Mitchell's performance. It's just another thing thrown on a streaming service for kids to sit down and watch it. It's fine. It's watchable. It has some good laughs. But as a mega Good Burger fan, can't help but say that it still really shouldn't have existed. It doesn't really offend me personally. I know what it was going for. It achieved it. It didn't go for like the lowbrow humor about farts and poop jokes. It didn't do that. So it could genuinely be funny. But this story genuinely had no thought and no heart into it at all. Hi, what's up? I'm over here now. Multiple days later, and I realized that I forgot to add a movie. So we're going to add that to the ranking right here. This would be number 4, which is The Marvels. I completely forgot to add The Marvels to this ranking. I'm sorry. I don't know what crossed my mind. It's like the moment I finished filming, I looked over there and I have my Marvels bucket, and I was like, dang, Marvels. Anyways, number 4 would be The Marvels. This movie was fine. It compared to a lot of the other MCU movies that have been coming out as of lately, this movie was definitely much better than those movies. It had some solid laughs. The cast chemistry was pretty fun. Obviously, Iman Vellani was absolutely a hoot here. The rest of the cast was fine. There were some cool action sequences. I thought the action sequences were pretty cool. The villain, I know a lot of people were talking crap about the villain. Villain, for me, I thought was pretty cool. I genuinely liked the villain. I thought that her motive for wanting to take down Captain Marvel was genuinely compelling and pretty cool. I liked it. I liked that. I found this movie, I saw the movie twice, and I found the movie easily rewatchable. It's kind of like Barbie, except I don't like Barbie, but not a perfect movie, but it's easily rewatchable, and you could just rewatch it over and over. Kind of like the first Captain Marvel. There were a couple problems here. Number 1, Brie Larson's Captain Marvel is not likable. Like, she is probably the most least likable character in recent Marvel history. This whole movie, her conflict is, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't go visit you on Earth, but it's because I was upset at myself, and so I decided not to go get you. And, like, everybody else is like, that's not a reason to do that. And she's like, yeah, it was, I'm sorry. And, like, I sat there, I was like, this can't be serious. This can't be the reason why she didn't do that. It's kind of lazy and stupid in a way. Also, I wasn't a big fan of the whole ending. Closing the portal, getting Monica Rambeau gone, it really wasn't all that satisfying to me. And then specifically, with Monica Rambeau gone, and then Miss Marvel moving to her house, kind of just distasteful a little bit in that way. Kind of just distasteful. Overall, it was a fine movie. I didn't hate the movie. It's definitely not a great Marvel movie, but it's a fine movie. Alright, back to your regular scheduled programming. Number 3, Thanksgiving. This is where I go from either, I think those last 2 movies were meh, to I think these movies are really good. In fact, all 3 of these are in my top 15 of the year. Thanksgiving for me is just an absolute blast. In fact, it's a better Scream movie than the Scream movie we got this year. Scream 6 never really killed off any core characters. Kind of just like, there's no stakes here. This movie itself, I think it's a really good movie. It basically, for the first 2 acts, is just, kills, unmemorable characters, people getting killed. It's fun. It's fun. I enjoy this type of movie, so it's fun. Thing that switches this up is it's Eli Roth directed. So you head into the 3rd act, where it's gruesome, it's gory, and it makes you squirm. This movie freaked me out in some of the stuff it does. There's literally a scene, I am claustrophobic, but there's literally a scene where she puts someone in a fridge and has them cooked alive. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. And if that's not enough, he's about to make her husband eat her. That is absolutely insane. That is the insane stuff I was here for in this movie, and the blood and gore and everything that they did in this final act really made the movie completely worth it. In fact, the final act was really good. Even the twist reveal here I thought was pretty good and better than the Scream movie we got this year. I feel like so much about this movie was another Scream movie, but definitely did a lot more things better than the one we had this year. I genuinely think that this has a chance to become a franchise. This could be the next big Scream franchise. Scream obviously is dying out, but I feel like so much of this movie was just taken right from the Scream book, but it's okay, because I love Scream movies, I love slasher movies, and boy, do I love gory, intense finales, and that's what this was. Made me leave the theater like, heck yeah, that was awesome. The more I think about it, it's still a clear Scream ripoff, but like I said, that's okay, because I still enjoy it. That's why it's number 3. Number 2, Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is a movie for me that I didn't want to see, but I was going to see because I'm a film critic. I'm like, should I watch the other movies before? And everybody who's seen this movie says you should definitely watch the other movies before. And I'm glad I did, because my brother, who's only seen the first one and not anyone else, he actually told me he didn't know what was going on in this movie. So he was confused. So I'm glad the whole week before I spent 4 back-to-back days binging the franchise. Ranking coming very soon, actually. It's one of the next 2 videos I will do. Anyways, I watched all the movies, and I went to this one, and I gotta say, I love this movie so much, and the third act had a bunch of problems for me. Quite reversal, where in Thanksgiving, I liked the middle 2 acts, but they were just kind of basic, where the third act was awesome. I love the first 2 acts in this movie. I think exploring the way the Hunger Games used to be was intense and brutal and kind of neat, actually. It was a kind of a neat thing seeing that, like, especially after binging all the other ones, comparing, like, that was different, that was different, that was different, that was especially different. All that was pretty cool. And speaking of the Hunger Games themselves, this movie right here is, I think, the best explored Hunger Games has ever been. This is the best Hunger Games that we've ever had. The most intense, to where I was clinging onto my seat like, I don't know who's gonna die. I don't know if she's gonna live. I don't know. In the first Hunger Games, you know what's gonna happen because Katniss lives. Here, you didn't know what was gonna happen. And so it was intense, and the gore, not gore, but the action was very well done and very cool. And I was there with a girl, and me and her made some people in the audience annoyed, probably, especially one audience, because they were like wanting to be really quiet, but we were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. Like, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy, and I apologize for being that people, but so many things in this movie was absolutely crazy. Problems with this one is, it feels like it's all of a sudden like, yeah, we're going to the third act, we got all these unique things, but we want to pull this character to know one way. Obviously, he's become the evil president who continues the Hunger Games, and it kind of makes sense because, you know, you're going through the whole movie. He explains some things why the Hunger Games should be, makes him make the Hunger Games even more, even for Peter Dinklage, kind of explains that in the end, and then you also have his relationship with his friend, ratting him out, goes down the evil path, but also has a path where all of a sudden he's like, I'm gonna go with you, Lucy Gray, and we're gonna leave, and then all of a sudden something happens, they freak out, he starts shooting at her, and he goes back to the Capitol, about to leave the whole Capitol behind, saying he hates Capitol, and then all of a sudden he's the president. There's some clear holes missing here. We don't know what happens to Lucy Gray. We don't know anything else that comes from that timeline. And so I think we need a sequel to further explore out this. I feel like a lot of people are saying this should have been a 2-part series. I personally agree that there should have been a whole nother part exploring this, going more into Snow's past, because at times it felt very inconsistent. Quite often in the third act, like, I wonder when this is going to happen, I wonder how this matches with that, and half the time it feels like so far stretched out that you really have to rely on your own brain to just kind of make it make sense, and a lot of it didn't make sense. So first 2 acts, some of the best Hunger Games scenes I've ever seen. Final act needed some fleshed out a little bit more, and I definitely feel like we should get a sequel to kind of flesh that out just a little bit more. But easily my first place of the month so far is David Fincher's The Killer. I wasn't a David Fincher fan, couldn't get into Mank. Didn't like The Social Network. So going on this one is either like, I'm either going to love this movie or I'm either going to hate it. I loved this movie. It is brutal. It is physical. And it is intense from beginning to end. Michael Fassbender pulls off a performance of a lifetime as his character to where you're following him. And it keeps feeling like he's going to make some character progression. He's going to make some character progression with these characters that are helping him along the way. All like the people he's going to kill. It keeps giving us little notions that he's going to change. But then all of a sudden he's like, can't do it. And then he just kills them. Then he just kills them. And it's brutal. It can be physically emotional. And it's kind of just intense movie from beginning to end. That it kind of makes you like, holy freaking crap. Did that just happen? That did just happen. We only get one big action fight scene in here, and I think it's intense from beginning to end. Like, that fight scene, at first I was like, huh, okay, it's not really what I expected, but it was brutal and intense and physical. Even in the end, when he's finally like, you know what, I killed all your guys. I'm gonna leave you alive. And even in the end, it's like, what a good character motivation, what good character progression to just be like, okay, that's the way it's gonna end. It's gonna be, he killed all these people, but now he's tired of being a killer and he's gonna pursue something else. It is a very good movie by David Fincher, and I'm very, very happy to say that I really did like it. And that's my #1 movie of November. With that said, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, and comment down below. What is your ranking of the November movies you've seen? Have you seen The Killer? Did you love it as much as me? I don't know all that and more. I actually watched it when I was sick, right there on my bed. I was sitting right there and watched it on my phone, and I still really enjoyed it. So, thank you guys for clicking on this video. I'm going to have a Hunger Games ranking coming out soon. Godzilla -1 and New Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie. The reviews are going to be combined. Kind of weird on that. I might also review Wonka in there as well. We'll see what happens. But with that said, thank you for subscribing. Or, thank you for watching this video. What am I talking about? And with that said, subscribe to the Army. Peace out.